We don't have the most exciting week one, but we do have six exciting games to start week one of college football. Keegan, let's hear your pick six.
Nebraska at Cincinnati. Both of these teams need this momentum because while all the smoke is kind of currently on Nebraska, Luke Fickell's been at Cincinnati for a minute and he was a prominent hire at one point in time, and it's kind of his turn in time to turn a corner over at Cincinnati. So I think this game's a wash. I actually like Cincinnati at being at home. I know Nebraska is going to be a lot better, but I just don't think they're ready for the level of prominence. I think they're like this year's Colorado, a little bit better. But, they deserve a lot of the hype. Dylan Raiola, Matt Rule, they're all doing some good things in the million transfers they got there. But give me actually Cincinnati to, if not push Nebraska to the brink, take out the W for sure. Just it's at home, and I think both of those teams are kind of about at the same level right now.
I'm going to go with the Beamer Bowl. Virginia Tech at South Carolina. I know South Carolina lost some pieces on defense, but I'm kind of excited, especially since we're not playing them, about South Carolina right now. Lenore Sellers is the real deal. The game's at home. Give me the Gamecocks on top.
Yeah, dude, I think South Carolina is poised for a great season. And for those keeping up with the streaming on NCAA right now, and just, I'll tell you personally, playing with them, like they're a fun team to play with. They have Dylan Stewart on the defensive line. He's a freaking like top 5, top 10 defensive player this season, I believe. And then, like you said, Lenore Sellers is just about like untackleable. Gosh, is that a word? Untackleable in the video game, but I mean, in real life, he's up there with like some of these more physical runners of the last 20 years at quarterback. So, like, I think Lenore Sellers could easily be making a deep Heisman push. Give me South Carolina in that for sure. And then number 8, Bama at Florida State. This game, to me, could get a little bit hairy for Bama just at being on the road. I like Bama's odds for sure, but I mean, I just don't know. I just can't believe that Florida State would suck as much as they did after being so good. I cannot believe in my historical, grounded college football mind that Florida State would suck that much. I know Marshall's replacing a lot of guys, but they're Marshall and they'll figure it out eventually. But this is Florida State. This is a big-time program that just attracts like high-level players in a high-level football state, Florida, too. So I think this game's going to be actually way more competitive. I like Bama, so I'll get ahead of it. I'm still going with the Tide, but I do think this game will be a lot more interesting. And that Florida State quarterback, if you guys remember, he's the one that called Bama out, went out on a limb, talked all his shit. They don't got Nick Saban. He's a solid quarterback. He's mobile. Dude from Auburn, the OC, what's his name? He led Auburn to a national title, the head coach. Gus Malzahn is their OC, and he's had success against Bama in the past, and he's just a bold play caller. I do like Gus Malzahn's play calling, so I think it'll be close. Cheeto, is there any smoke to what I'm saying, or is it just a wipeout game for Bama?
I think Bama is going to be one of the elite teams this season, and a couple weeks ago I had them circled, no problems. I do think the loss of both Jam Miller and Keenan, it may not catch up to them this week, but that is going to be something to monitor as the weeks go on. Obviously, as a Georgia fan, you hate to hear that they're losing players, but those are prominent players. So that's going to be something to watch. I'm going to go Bama this week, but something to monitor as the week goes on. And another game in Atlanta, actually, we got Syracuse and Tennessee. I'm not sure if it's Chick-fil-A or whatever, but it is in Atlanta. I'm going to go Syracuse here. I think that they are kind of on the rise. That coach, who I'm slipping on his name, Fran Brown has really, dude, I love the Georgia energy that he's brought to Syracuse. I like Tennessee as far as their defense and what their run game is probably going to bring. But with Nico gone, who's this Aguilar guy? How's he going to play? And then from what I've heard, they don't have any weapons. And a lot of the weapons that they do have seem to be banged up. So that offense, if you don't got those wide receivers to help you make plays, I think it really slows them down. So I'm going to go Syracuse and Atlanta.
Yeah, and I think their quarterback is pretty mobile, so we'll see if he can use that as a weapon.
Yeah, maybe that helps. I
like Syracuse, too. I've actually recently gotten closer to some Syracuse friends because my good pal has married a Syracuse lady. So I'm hearing tidbits and about the Qs being loose. So we'll see if the Qs can be loose in Atlanta. But hey, yeah, it looks like Fran Brown is really in line with like 5 or 6 other, coaches from the Kirby coaching tree. We've talked for 2 decades plus about the Nick Saban coaching tree, but really that Kirby coaching tree rivals it. And he's had many coaches step out and do really well. And I think Fran Brown is on that list of coaches doing that. But a big game that I think a lot of Georgia fans will be interested in. He's back against the team that he did not get to play against. It'll be Notre Dame at Miami, led by Carson Beck. I think it's kind of fortuitous and a little bit coincidental how that kind of shook out. But do you think that Carson Beck is due for the season he was poised to have last year, or are we starting off with a Miami L? Because mind you, Miami has been putting in work. It's not just Carson Beck to play savior. They've added a lot of quality players to this roster.
So Carson jumps right into an offense that helped Cam Ward go number 1. So you expect him to use his NFL arm to sling it all across the field and to make a statement week 1. However, reports are that Miami doesn't have, and maybe he's used to it after the wide receiver core that he had at UGA last year, but it doesn't sound like he's getting a big bump in the weapons that Carson's going to have at Miami. And then on top of that, Miami's not really known right now for handling playoff level teams quite well, right? Notre Dame's going to come in here with a playoff level defense. A lot of people aren't familiar with their quarterback, but he's one of the Carr brothers, Derek Carr, the other Carr that's older. So this is like a Manning, like a layman's Manning coming in at Notre Dame. Plus Jeremiah Love and that defense. I don't think Miami's ready for that week 1. I think they'll be a good team, but not Notre Dame level team this year. I'm going Notre Dame.
And that's the thing. Notre Dame has been climbing. But there's just a short list of teams that can just keep climbing or even just maintain once you get that high up. So I think it's like there's every argument to be made that Miami takes a step forward. That I'm totally clear on. Now, is it a step that can eclipse?
Yeah, is it a seismic step? I don't think so quite yet.
That's a good question. So I think it'll be a great game, but this is one of those games where we will know a lot about how not just these teams are, but just how the landscape of college football is. Because if, let's say, Notre Dame comes in there and blanks Miami, well, hey, the ACC is wide open now. Clemson, Georgia Tech, it's theirs to lose. Syracuse can make a push. Like it just will change the conversation, and that's why I'm very excited just about that aspect of week 1 is just getting a little bit of clarity on like what's going on here.
Absolutely.
And
you are going Notre Dame, right?
I am going Notre Dame for this, yes.
Good. Okay. So I know you're a fan of one of these teams.
In a close one. Carson.
Yeah, it'll be close. It'll be close. But Carson's not better than Cam Ward. You know what I'm saying?
No, but if Carson Beck got any better in the offseason, which I would think he would get a little bit better, he's due for a great season. I mean, I think a lot of the scouting reports on him are spot on. It's just that, I don't know. We'll see. It's college level. Will he be a great pro quarterback? I don't know, but we know he's a great college quarterback. So he can do that. But
and we'll end the last 2 with the games of the week. And I'm going to start with my favorite. I know, Keegan, you got a little bit of skin in the game on the other side, but I'm going to go Texas at Ohio State. And we talked about it a little bit earlier in the podcast. I think Texas is being built up right now for failure in this week 1. Arch Manning, as good as he may be, he's not peak Arch Manning right now today. He's not going to be peak Arch Manning on Saturday. To me, on the road, Ohio State national champions, they have the 2 best players right now on the field. And Caleb Downs at safety and Jeremiah Smith at wide receiver. I think that's just too much, asking too much of Arch. We know the blueprint to beat Texas has been the past couple times we've seen them. You stop the run, you win the game. Now, Ohio State did lose their defensive coordinator to Penn State, which is a huge loss, but they bring in Matt Patricia, a great coach from the NFL, and they still got, what's his name, the wide receiver guy. I think Ohio State takes this one, but I think it's bad for the rest of the SEC because I think Texas goes on just on a run. after they lose this opener.
Dude, I think that, as much hype as Arch Manning has gotten, I think like 85 to 90% of it is deserved based on his talent. That extra 10 to 15%, by all means, maybe that's because of the Manning name, but I think Arch is the real deal Holyfield. So I think actually Texas is going to push based on quarterback play. I agree.
Oh, and Julian Sayin too. I didn't even mention Julian Sayin, the new quarterback. Anyways, I can't wait till this game is over because we're gonna see. He's either gonna be validated by this game, or they'll tear him down like they always do. Arch Manning's not what we thought. But anyway, sorry, continue.
I think that both quarterbacks are, in my estimation, about the same place. I think Julian Sayin has done a really good job from all accounts in this offseason to earn that position. And I think it was Arch's time to, be next in line for, a good string of Texas quarterbacks. They've done a good job here recruiting at that position. But yeah, I like Texas to take a little bit of an edge on Ohio State, but you're totally right. I mean, if they turn it into the Jeremiah Smith show, it's going to be really hard to stop. But we got another really big game, and these fan bases online continue to go back and forth over which has the better tiger, which has the better Death Valley, and that was and what a weird situation. I mean, I guess someone must have copied someone. There's no way you end up with Death Valley and both tigers. Like, I just don't know. Like, if Mississippi State Bulldogs also played between the hedges, I mean, damn, that just kind of takes the wind out of your sail. Like, I just want to have my originality a little bit there. But number 9 LSU and number 4 Clemson, I believe. This is a big time game. LSU, Garrett Nussmeier, all the additions they've added. I think this is going to go down to the wire, and I got LSU edging Clemson in this one just because of the additions. I think Brian Kelly is a good coach. He didn't do what he did at Notre Dame to be labeled a shit coach, but he's really got to show it because he's not quite done what he needs to do. But there is nothing about this season that isn't in his favor, on paper at least, for me. I think that Brian Kelly is ready to take LSU on the next step and get off of what could be a hot seat. And I know people online, you got LSU fans already saying John Gruden's their next coach because of what he said at Georgia about wanting to be in the SEC and whatnot. So, Cheeto, who do you got in this one? Is LSU the real deal finally, or is it actually Clemson like everyone's been saying all offseason?
This is going to be very similar to Texas Ohio State. Neither of these teams lose anything as far as their ultimate goals by losing this game whatsoever. With that being said, LSU is the real deal. They got wide receivers. I think they have arguably the best quarterback in the SEC, a guy who's been there, a guy who can sling it. Anderson came in, transferred in, and they finally addressed the defense with transfers. But similar to Marshall, you can't put all that new stuff together in week one. You can't do it. It's going to take time. Kelly is known for losing opening games, and to go to Clemson, who's been a team on the rise with Dabo Swinney, a championship coach, at home with their quarterback, with their D-line, give me Clemson in this one. It'll be tight, but it just kind of makes sense that LSU wouldn't have this one. I'd love to lean SEC here, but I can't do it. Clemson should be the best Tiger on the day, and their Death Valley is really going to be the only one that matters on Saturday.
Well, I know for a fact Clemson fans will take great offense to that, and I think that because of the home field advantage that Clemson will definitely push LSU to their limits to pull out a win. I'm calling a pull-out win here, but it's going to be a great game, and I actually think I'll be more excited to tune into that one than Texas and Ohio State, just based on the implications for both of these teams really are supposed to be in that. I feel like I would be a little bit more surprised if Ohio State or Texas end up in the top 4 versus either LSU or Clemson. So in that way, it's almost more marquee to me than Ohio State and Texas.